This video is sponsored by PCBWay.
Hey there, this is Seth Schaefer from Team Just Cause Robotics, and this is Subtraction, my newest Beetleweight robot, a modified SSP kit with a giant overhead blade on it. And this robot just competed at the Mass Destruction Tournament in Boston. Let's quickly give you an overview of what changes I made to this bot, and then we can get into the action here. So Subtraction is, like I said, an SSP kit base with a giant custom JCR 4935 weapon motor to mount the blade to. Last event, I had some trouble with this because the blade was dowel pinned directly to the motor, and that meant that it could not shift whatsoever separately from the motor. All of the shock from every hit went into the motor, and even though the motor is custom designed to survive that shock, it just wasn't quite enough. So for this event, I have this. This is a little TPU 3D printed crown with some custom design, custom made shoulder bolts. So the metal on metal contact is basically gone, and instead it's all metal on metal. So the bolts are fixed to the motor, and then there's a little bit of shock absorption, kind of like a helmet would do for your skull, to prevent all of the shock from every hit from just shattering all the magnets in the motor. I also epoxied the magnets on my one remaining good weapon motor that I had going into this event. I did custom order the next batch of JCR 4935 motors, but unfortunately the early samples I ordered did not get here in time for the tournament, so I just epoxied the magnets on the one motor I had from the last tournament and prayed that my TPU solution would be good enough for it to survive. Otherwise, the only real change is that I'm using the same Weka dual speed controller that I ran in my Antweight Sonic now to drive the two Dragon drive motors that are inside of this robot, so that I could see how they shook out in a 3-pound real combat scenario. That all out of the way, let's talk about the tournament format and then get into the fights. Alright, let me talk briefly about the Mass Destruction event format, and if you want to skip ahead to the fights, you can check out the chapters down below. I'll have timestamps to everything. So, Mass Destruction is a cool event. This event had not run for about 5 years, so this was marked as the Mass Destruction Resurgence event, and it is by far the closest event to me where I live near Boston. So, I was able to drive down there in less than an hour, get set up, and get ready for the fights. They announced at the event the tournament format would be kind of a Swiss-style tournament where you get matched up against 3 random opponents. You're scored points based on, if you knock out your opponent or go to a judge decision, win or lose. And the robots with the most points get seeded into a single elimination final of the top 16 bots. Now, there were around 25 Beetleweights that showed up to the competition, but due to the way that things worked out in the tournament, basically everyone ended up in the single elimination who could still fight after those 3 first rounds. But it was great because it means that you basically ended up with a guaranteed 3 or 4 fights to start off with, and then they opened it up for grudge matches as usual afterwards. For my first fight of the day, I was going to be fighting a familiar robot from NHRL named Hurt Caboose. This is obviously built by the Pain Train team and driven by Angel Vidal. Hurt Caboose has had reasonable success at the NHRL circuit, but never quite matched up to its bigger brother Shred It Bro. Still, Hurt Caboose is nothing to sneeze at. It has the new Weta X hub motor drum spinner on the front, and since I was running on a cobbled together motor that I didn't really expect to survive, I decided I'd run the lifter attachment for this one because I knew that my claw forks could do very well against drum spinners. So this was going to be more of a driving battle than anything. Let's see how this fight went.
3 minutes on the clock, 2 robots in the cage. This fight starts in 3, 2, 1. Fight, robots, fight! Violent noise there from Hurt Caboose, but it doesn't do him a whole lot. Its Subtraction is just going to throw him into the wall. It's using his own force against him, but is that arm on Subtraction hurt, or is it just strategically all the way back?
It is very much strategically all the way back because I don't want to get the lifter arm caught in that drum.
So tight and low to the ground. Looks like that arm does work. He's got it lowered down now.
The special claw forks I run against drums are AR600 with a 600 Brinell hardness, but the screw teeth on Hurt Caboose's drum are only around 370 Brinell, so they bounce right off.
And the loud, angry noises have stopped. The ants inside. Oh, and we have a tap out from Hurt Caboose. Your winner by tap out is Subtraction. Let's give it up for that tiny red and black robot.
Talking to Hurt Caboose's driver after the fight, it sounded like his power switch wires came undone. It's not every day that you can say that you get a less than 1 minute knockout with a lifter, but that's just how it do be sometimes. My next fight was going to be up against Wormhole. Wormhole is an NHRL competitor that's been competing since 2021, and it has evolved a very long ways from having its weapon assembly ripped out and being completely melted by Mixtape into a pretty formidable mid-cutter horizontal spinner. I put on my wedge attachment, same as I did for fighting the mid-cutter I fought at the last tournament, and went with my longest overhead blade, the 10-inch diameter blue Aura blade, because I wanted to be able to outreach his smaller mid-cutter spinner. Let's see how this fight went for me.
We're making a quick little pause here. Wormhole has decided to very cheekily put the entire robot upside down. This is a last-minute configuration change. I hope he knows how to drive upside down. Usually the controls are inverted. All right, help me count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fight, robots, fight! Both these horizontal spinners coming up to speed, trying to find a good angle on each other. Subtraction was going around the back. I don't know what Wormhole just did. He teleported, and he has tapped out. Your winner by 15-second tap out, Subtraction. Seth, take longer next time, okay?
So yeah, I can't really explain the physics of how exactly what happened there, but the death of Wormhole was swift and was caused, unfortunately, by one of my very own all-in-one PD boards that he was using, having the voltage regulator break off from the board. This is not a problem that I'd heard of happening before this event, but it apparently happened to like 2 or 3 people at this competition, and this is a problem that will definitely be fixed by the new long AAO that I showed off in my last video. But maybe I'll make an updated version of this all-in-one board as well, like a version 1.8 that has the same regulator fix that makes it this really tiny thing that stays on the board no matter what, and that should be a nice fix as well moving forward. Having now taken out Wormhole, now I had to deal with a brand new kind of opponent I've never really fought before, a Supreme Ruler style bot called Fool. This robot is built by the same team as Prince and also the same as Caesar, who I had fought with Sonic at the last event, so they were probably looking for some revenge after I murdered Caesar. And this bot was definitely not messing around with huge ground steel forks that were going to be really hard for me to counter. So my strategy for this was going to be to try and get around to the sides as much as I could, where their wheels weren't protected by too much, and I might be able to dig through that side armor and get a good hit on them. Let's see what happened. So for this matchup, I switched out the wedge for my brand new barbed forks, which are designed to not get stuck under the kick plates and around the arena as easily. This arena was borrowed from NHRL, so this should be a good test.
Robots fight! Horizontal spinner of Subtraction is turning on. It looks like the Fool was getting stuck in the floor, but he's not going to do that again. He's got really long forks that he should be able to stop Subtraction with.
Wanted to play some mind games with my opponent, so I'm spinning my blade the opposite direction as usual, but this makes steering very difficult for me as well.
Subtraction doing a very good job of subtracting parts.
Might not look like much, but this was the kill shot of the match. I sliced through their top plate and cut a ton of important wires inside of their robot.
He's gotten him flipped the right way around. The twisty forks seem to work, but Fool's having some difficulty driving. Subtraction going in for some big murderous hits, and that is a tap out from the Fool. Your winner, Subtraction, in less than a minute.
So somehow that happened. Don't know how or when, but it did.
Oh, that was Subtraction piece.
Honestly, I thought I would take off a fork or something at first, but apparently not.
I was hoping you'd get the wheels and then be able to test those a little bit more.
I hit the back of you and it did nothing, so that part worked great.
Yeah, these vertical ribs. I doubted them until he was like, this is where to go. And honestly, I've been proven wrong. They held up so well. It kind of helps that they're indented inside.
That was a great fight. Alright, so Subtraction just fought Fool.
basically my opponent was supposed to be a drum spinner Epsilon, and they had to forfeit last minute. So I just switched the blade from the small boy to the big boy so I'd get more reach, and it worked out great. The weapon kept spinning up. I was running it at like max 70% speed just so that I had a bit more control, because when it's spinning up, I'm like rotating the body of the bot underneath it, and it's pretty hard to control. But yeah, it worked really well.
Because Subtraction was the only robot with 3 knockouts and quick ones at that, I easily took the first seed position in the single elimination tournament. However, this meant that I had a rematch with the 16th seed Wormhole. This time I stupidly forgot to put on my front wedge, and well, you'll see what happened.
All right, Wormhole, are you ready? He's ready. Subtraction, are you ready? He's ready. 3 minutes on the clock. Audience, please help me count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fight, robots, fight. Both these horizontal spinners up to speed almost instantly, hunting around for each other, each going for a big hit on the back, and they both got it.
Yeah, so obviously Subtraction, at least not with this weapon blade, does not have the ability to drive upside down. So at this point, I was pretty much screwed.
It's his own belt.
Not how I wanted it to
Wormhole
go.
has lost his own weapon.
I'm gonna fast forward through most of this because in this competition, all movement is movement.
Subtraction is very stuck in the corner. Wormhole is actually doing a decent job of maneuvering him around, getting him into worse and worse positions, but there's only 7 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your winner by judge's decision is Wormhole. Your number 16 seed has upset the number 1.
Unfortunately, with this tough loss, this meant that Subtraction was eliminated from the tournament. However, I was able to prove out that both the weapon motor and speed controller were never going to die, it seems like. So that's at least a silver lining to this setup, because that was a way worse loading situation than it was designed to take. Still, weapon motor still worked just great, and I really wanted to get another grudge match in. I had a fellow SSP kit modified builder with me at this tournament, Julian, who designed Mako, and he wanted to try out a really silly config where he put the Fingertech Triton blade on his usual saw arm attachment. So we went for this completely wild 1v1 grudge match.
So, we are actually going to have a grudge match right now between Subtraction and Mako, 2 of the more powerful robots that we've seen today. Both of these robots are based off of the same kit robot that you can buy from JustCauseRobotics.com, but they've taken wildly different approaches. Subtraction with a giant bar on top of his robot, and Mako with what was supposed to be a saw blade, but he has now put a giant bar on top of his robot. We're really willing to allow the silliness. We want to see what happens here. And audience, we know that you want to see what happens here. So, this should be very fun, especially considering Mako's ability to keep their weapon blade on. I've got 3 minutes on the clock.
I'm ready, sir.
Drivers are ready. We're going to get this fight kicked off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fight, robots, fight. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Mako has found themselves a little too unstable. Subtraction goes in for the kill, but he doesn't get it. Subtraction pushing around Mako. Subtraction seems to be down on drive, but that weapon isn't stopping. He has lost the ability to doink it into Subtraction, though. Very disappointing. I don't think we're going to see any weapon-on-weapon action. Subtraction is playing a cautious game. And there it goes. He has removed the weapon from Mako. And that's a tap out from Mako. Your winner, Subtraction.
That was the new one?
Oh wait, what did I do?
That's
Oh my god!
It happens. I knew what I was getting into.
Oh my gosh! Wow, look at the top plate.
Yeah.
What is that? Titanium or aluminum?
Yep, it's a titanium.
Oh my gosh!
Can you stop subtracting us, please? I thought you were gonna kill that wheel, but it was you. That's like.
Listen, I've got to sell more spare parts
Yeah,
somehow.
exactly.
All right, what are you?
I
What am
gotta
I
buy
gonna do?
stuff from you. That's the real scam.
All right, dude. Awesome fight. That's awesome. Always an honor. Mako just looks so good. I love this robot.
Chase CRB got like a perfect pictures of the blade coming multiple frames of the weapon flying off.
Yes.
That was an amazing way to end an already really fun tournament, and I beat technically 4 out of 4 of my opponents, though I also lost to one of them. And I got some nice souvenirs from a few of the bots that I faced. Got a little Mako saw blade here, and I got a Hurt Caboose coin as well. However, the most meaningful thing that I received, I'll have to run and grab. So, in addition to everything that was going on at the Normal Mass Destruction tournament, at the very end, Ashley, who's one of the frequent NHRL staffers and also a frequent host of the podcast called Outside of the Box, presented me with this award. This is a Boxy Award for community outreach in the Comet Robotics community, which was presented to me. And this was voted for by the Comet Robotics community. There were about 500 votes that were cast, and overwhelmingly, apparently, they voted for me for this award, which I cannot be more thankful about. I gave a short little speech that was recorded with a lot of background noise, so I won't share it for you here, but I just want to thank again every single person who's been watching these videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel, which you can still do by the way, everyone who has been buying parts from my store, or just everyone who voted for me to win that award. It's been super fulfilling just getting to show up at events and have people come up to me and say, you know, hey, I got into this sport partly because of you, I'm using your parts in my bot, or, you know, it was through your videos that I was first exposed to what Comet Robotics even is. It's really amazing seeing the kind of impact that I've been able to have on this community, and I'm definitely not slowing down anytime soon. I want to keep producing the best parts in the game and making them at affordable prices that anybody can be able to pick up. And also, maybe I'll have more things like the SSP kit that'll make it more of a turnkey option for people who might not have as much time or money to spend to learn everything they need to know, but still want to be able to participate in this amazing sport that we all love so much. And I definitely have plenty more things planned for 2024, so keep your eyes out for that. Alright, we've got 2 more things to talk about before I go. First of all, while I was recording this video, the new 4935 motors finally arrived. These look amazing, and they came out perfectly. Now, these, unlike the motor that I was running in Subtraction, come out of the box with factory epoxied battle-hardened magnets, and they also have a hardened steel 4140 chromoly steel shaft, which is hardened to 46 to 48 Rockwell C hardness. So that is definitely not going to be breaking anytime soon. It's got the same internal construction otherwise, with the bearings being the same and the shaft being almost the same, except with the flange upgrade that I discussed in my last Subtraction recap. So this is a single piece shaft. This flange is part of one single piece of metal, passes through the whole motor. There are no set screws anywhere in this motor. There are no circlips anywhere in this motor. It's just retained with a button head screw on the bottom and the flange on top. I've still got a few more of these in stock, even though more than half of the ones I ordered did sell via pre-order. So if you want one, you should definitely try and buy it soon. Link in the description. Last, but certainly not least, I'd love to thank today's video sponsor, PCBWay. Whether you need CNC machined parts, PCB fabrication, or anything in between, they've got you covered. Check them out at the link in the description at PCBWay.com. PCBWay has a bunch of sales going on for Christmas time holiday until December 31st, so now is the best time to check them out. One last thing before I go. Congratulations to Julian, the designer of Mako, who won the Best Designed Robot Award. I had joked with him that he owes me part of that reward, but he definitely did a lot of awesome work with the aesthetics and the saw arm on Mako, so he definitely deserves it. I don't know how the battery that I hit through the bottom of your robot didn't explode. but some mysteries will just have to be left to the end of time. That's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, click like. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon. And as always, thank you for watching.